Welcome to Cactus Core's 2010's Best Games Decade in Review something or other.
We should probably come up with an actual intro title. So
No,
that way we could...
That's it.
Okay.
Okay. The shoddiness of this channel is reflected in this intro already. So, I don't want to put on airs. What you're hearing is what you're getting.
With those other fancy channels, you get, like, thought-out titles and scripts, and we don't do that.
I wrote down the rules, and I also wrote down all of the answers that I have. So that's good. I'm not going to just come up with them on the fly.
Okay.
Anyway, I'm Kevandre.
My name is Bobby, and I guess this is our decade in review for video games.
Yes.
So, what are the rules?
So here's the rules. We each have a top 3 for every year, starting with 2010. Each top 3 cannot have duplicate series, though honorable mentions are not beholden to this. Re-releases and ports don't count, though full-on remakes do count. American release date is when we're quick counting to qualify for each year. So if something comes out in Japan in 2009 but came out in America in 2010, that's a 2010 game. We need to have personally played at least an hour of the game for us to count it as part of our list. We will both have an overall top 5 for the decade with no duplicate series. In addition, we will have in addition to the top 5, we'll have an overall best soundtrack, most influential game, and least favorite game. You've probably seen 1,000 other channels do this recently, so I'm sure that's pretty much all you need. I thought I was such an original idea, and I am not.
What a shock.
Because there have been many channels doing this recently.
Yeah. We are also joined by Foggy the Cat.
Yes, he is here, and he is very comfortable, and he's going to make me fall asleep. We've been sick lately, so if we sound terrible, sorry.
Right.
Also, there was a little bit of construction outside earlier today. I don't know if it's going to come back. I hope not. But just in case.
Yeah, they've been silent for a good, 30 minutes now, so we should be good.
Yeah.
Knock on wood.
I don't know what's happening in the background of the video, because we're just recording audio right now, so surprise for whatever it is.
We have no idea how long this video will be. Sorry
Exactly.
about that.
So we'll have to figure that shit out later. Anyway, you want to start with 2010? You want to start us off?
Okay, so 2010, we got top 3 games, and it's kind of weird because some of these we haven't played quite as much as others. Going through the decade review, I realized I did not play that many games in certain years. But 2010, I got a few. My number 3 spot is Fable 3, which is a game that got a lot of controversy when it came out. A lot of people didn't like it. I personally kind of agree. I think Fable 1 and 2 are better. But I did still really like Fable 3. I thought it was a good game. So it made the list.
See, I had that as an honorable mention. Back in 2010, I worked at Toys R Us at the Christmas season, and people would ask me, what's your favorite games from this year? I would tell them one of them that's higher up on my list, but I would also tell them Fable 3 is my other choice. Now, it's not in my top 3 anymore since I played more games from that year, but I did thoroughly enjoy Fable 3. I actually like it a lot more than Fable 2, though not as much as Fable 1. I think it's underrated. I think it's a great game, but not quite enough to be in my top 3. As for me, my number 3 is Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver, which is one of my favorite Pokemon games. I'm not a huge fan of Johto, but I really like when Pokemon does a remake, because they don't have to focus so hard on creating a new unique environment. They've already got all of that figured out, so they can focus more on just all of the extra fun stuff that happens in the game. And I think that they did a great job with that in Heart Gold and Soul Silver, having every Pokemon be able to follow you outside of the Pokeball.
That was really great.
Which I really loved. Plus, it's just a very complete feeling game since you get to go to both regions, and both regions feel fully fleshed out and everything like that. I really like it.
Yeah. Alright, so my number 2 for 2010 is Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. This was my first real foray into the Assassin's Creed games. This is the year that it hit me, and I thought Brotherhood was a just fantastic game. I loved everything about it. I 100%ed the hell out of that game. It was awesome, and I think every Assassin's Creed game since then has been not as good.
You played on PS3?
Yes.
Okay, interesting. I don't know anything about Brotherhood. I just remember watching Leslie play 2, and that's pretty much it.
Well, then you got Assassin's Creed 2, and then you got 2 other games in Assassin's Creed 2. And Brotherhood is like Brotherhood 2.2. Okay. So it's the direct continuation of it, but then you get Assassin's Creed 3, which is a different character. So usually it gets grouped up by the main character that you're playing.
Okay.
It's a good game.
Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah. And they keep on coming out with like the Ezio remakes and all that stuff, and I need to pick it up again. I want to play it again.
Do it.
I'm gonna.
I think it's out on Switch now. Maybe.
But I'm not gonna play it on Switch.
Yeah, play it on PS4.
Yeah. What's your number 2?
My number 2 is Zero Escape 999. 9 hours, 9 persons, 9 doors. It's a visual novel kind of room escape game. And it's only a game that I played for the first time a couple years ago. But I fucking fell in love with it. And it's the game's director, Kotaro Uchikoshi, and everything he does. It's a truly, truly amazing visual novel. It's kind of what got me into the genre in general. And I've played through it several times, as well as its remake. I thoroughly enjoy it and recommend it to pretty much anybody who could potentially be into that kind of thing. So if you haven't played it, play it. I have it on DS. I've got its remake on PS4 and PC.
Yeah, and he gives it to just random people. Like, hey, I heard you hadn't played this game. Merry Christmas. Here you go.
Pretty much. play it. It's real good.
All right. So on to number 1?
Yes.
Because I'm fairly certain we have the same number 1.
Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah, Mass Effect 2.
Yes, that's right. That is my number 1 as well.
Yeah, that game blew that decade away.
Yeah.
It's shamazeballs.
Yes.
It's great.
Yeah, that was the other game I mentioned to everybody when I was at Toys R Us and recommending games for 2010. If you've watched our channel before and watched our playthrough of the Mass Effect series, you know how much of a fanboy I am for it.
And I had played it at the time, but I didn't really remember it all that well because that was a dark spot in my life. But yeah, watching him replay it and giving some of those flashback memories, it was good stuff.
I've played through Mass Effect 2, I believe, literally 31 times now, because I love the ending of the game so much that I've specifically gone through the game just to do different things at the ending of it. Why not just have a save file that I keep reloading to do the ending, you might ask. Look, that's cheating. I'm not going to do that. So I fucking love Mass Effect 2. Just a lot.
It's a great game.
It's really, really good.
Go Fibship.
And the Mass Effect series in general, all 4 games is probably my favorite video game series overall.
Siha.
Yes, that too.
Yeah.
You got any honorable mentions or anything?
For 2010, not really.
Okay.
So, what about you? Any?
No, it was just Fable 3.
Which you kind of did an honorable mention.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess that's it for 2010, and we're moving on to 2011.
All right.
All right, so I'm going to start us off with my number 3 game.
Okay.
And this one's an unusual one, because a lot of friends got me to play it, and I kind of enjoyed it when it first came out, and then it died off very quick. It's DC Universe Online.
I played that.
Yeah. A lot of my friends get really excited in the lead up to it. We started playing when it came out. We were all super excited. We did all the missions. And then we stopped very quickly.
Yeah.
Because it just died off way too fast. It wasn't fully fleshed out yet. My understanding is that when they've progressed it a lot more and that nowadays it's actually a much better, fuller game. I'm still not going to come back to it, but I feel like it deserved a good spot on here because of how much time I did invest into it and how much I did enjoy it with my friends when it first came out.
I'll be real with you. I played it too because Leslie from Source to Screen was kind of obsessed with it for a minute.
Good on her.
And the full game felt like a beta to me. It did not feel complete or good, though I played it for a while. But I didn't enjoy it enough to put it in my top 3. But, yeah.
Well, alright, Mr. Smarty Pants, what's your number 3?
Portal 2.
That was your number 3?
That's my number 3. I really like Portal 2. I actually think I might like Portal 1 more. I know that there's a lot less to Portal 1. But at the same time, I feel like they added a little bit too much to Portal 2. Like, it felt like the story mode drags for a bit. Despite the fact that it's really good. Cave Johnson and Stephen Merchant as Wheatley and all that kind of stuff. I really enjoyed a lot of that stuff, but I feel like some of the mechanics, like the goo, I didn't need. But I thoroughly enjoyed everything pretty much else. Even the ending was also really good. And the multiplayer was really fun too. But really, it was more of a single-player game for me. I enjoyed thoroughly. That's pretty much it. I would like a Portal 3, Gaben. Please.
Yeah, all right.
Okay, well, this cat's going to be an asshole.
My number 2 game, because it deserves better than the filthy number 3 spot, is Portal 2.
I'm surprised. I thought you didn't like Portal very much.
I liked Portal a lot.
Oh.
It's just not one of the games I'd like to revisit. It's a very much one experience that's fantastic, and then you can leave it at that for me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, that was pretty much it for me. Like a wildfire. I've enjoyed experiencing a wildfire. I thought it was incredibly thrilling. I am happy I've done it in my life. I never want to see another one again.
It's true. We don't need to experience it again. That was terrifying.
Yeah, so that's Portal 2 for me. All the memes that come from it were amazing. I still make odd references to it to this day. I know I've seen a lot of other YouTubers put this as the number 1 for that year.
Nope.
It's really good, but I got kind of an odd one for number 1. I got a little sleeper in there. So,
Interesting. So my number 2 is Batman Arkham City.
Yeah, I can see that one.
As much as I like Asylum the best in the series, Arkham City is easily the second place, and it's pretty damn close. I liked the trapped feeling of Asylum more than the free roam in City, but City has such a good story that I feel like only really dips in quality when you're dealing with the League of Assassin bullshit, and that's just true for every Batman thing ever. But it's a damn good game, and I've been meaning to revisit it because I've got the Return to Arkham on the Xbox, and I haven't played those yet, but I kind of want to soon. I've just been busy playing games I haven't played before. So, yeah, it's a very enjoyable time, and I recommend it to anybody pretty much.
Fair enough. So on to number 1s?
Yes.
Okay, my number 1, and people are going to judge me for it, and that's fine. I don't care. Is Final Fantasy 13-2.
Okay.
Right? I know a lot of people hated this game. A lot of people just hate Final Fantasy 13 in general, but especially this one, and I don't know why. I thought it was a really fun game. I liked the story a lot better. I liked the time traveling aspect a lot better. I liked the fucking Pokemon a lot better because it's a Final Fantasy Pokemon game. And it was everything 13, that I wanted. No, 13 I thought sucked.
Yeah.
I thought 13, it was way too linear. You got, like, railroaded into the plot. You got level capped at each individual section, which means you couldn't really grind. It made me very upset. The plot wasn't good enough to make up for it. So, I was very unhappy. But 13-2 I loved because the plot was way simpler. It was easier to follow. You didn't get this convoluted, and you weren't really capped on what you were doing. I just thought it was a really fun game.
Okay.
And I love the Pokemon system in it. And I beat this game 6-7 times. I just kept replaying it. I don't know why. It was fantastic for me, and I loved it so much.
Interesting.
And
how long is it?
You could probably beat it in like 30 hours.
Okay.
But if you were to grind up and do all the crap that I did, it's like about 100 hours each playthrough.
I see. Hot damn.
Yeah.
That is a lot of times.
Yeah. I was working at the Nissan plant at the time.
Oh, so he was just dealing with death every day.
Yeah.
And that was your number 1, right?
That was my number 1.
My number 1 is Saints Row the Third.
Yeah, I figured it would be.
Yeah, you guys watched us play it on the channel. Or, well, you watched him play it on the channel. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. It was kind of the first non-World of Warcraft PC game that I got really, really into. Like, because my computer at the time wasn't that great. Actually, that's a fucking lie. I don't know why I said that. I was into the Mass Effect games before that. But, anyway, it was more my introduction to Steam, really. Because we got it as this THQ Humble Bundle thing. And my friend Josh was just like, hey, you should play this. It's incredible. And I'm like, I don't really like the GTA kind of style. It's not really my thing. And that's true. Every GTA I play and I get bored. Not true with Saints Row 3 or 4. I thoroughly enjoy them. The humor and the design of the city and what you can really do in the game is just really fun. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I'm sad that it took me too long to play it. Well, not that long, I guess, but it was a hell of a good time. Hard to play for the channel though because we got a VOD mute. But
yeah,
that part kind of sucks. But aside from that, it was a lot of fun, and we even did that box thing, the food from around the world.
Yeah,
thing.
that was really fun doing that during that game.
Yeah, no, I've been kind of half rewatching it, trying to find the Polish one again.
Oh yeah,
but anyway, I think that's all I got for 2011.
That's it for me.
Played a lot of games in 2011, but really I had to kind of pick and choose on that one. But yeah, let's go on to 2012.
Okay, so 2012. My number 3 spot for 2012 is a game that I didn't particularly enjoy all that much, but I haven't played that many 2012 games, it turns out. And also, my friends made me play this game, and part of enjoying games is just playing them with your friends. It's Borderlands 2.
Okay.
I'm not a Borderlands fan. I don't like the kind of graphical style with it. I think a lot of the battles are bullshit. But my friends really played it, and I enjoyed playing with them. And I can admit that objectively, it's like a well-structured, put-together game. Just not my type of game. But all the same, it's made the list. Good for you, Borderlands. You son of a bitch.
As for me, I'm going to do my number 3 is a game that I only first played this year. And it is Katawa Shoujo, which is another visual novel. This one's a dating sim. You'll recall that I've done a shout out to it reasonably recently, because this game pretty much absorbed my soul for several days. And I had kept seeing reference to it on 4chan, like back when I used to go on 4chan a long time ago. And I thought, oh, it's just going to be some edgy fucking porno game. No, it's a fucking amazingly written visual novel romance game that I loved very, very much. I don't even want to talk too much about it. I mean, honestly, you should play it if you're even slightly interested in visual novels. It's incredible, and you should play it right now.
Sure.
That's it.
Go on to that. Alright, so I mentioned our number 2 and number 1s are probably very similar.
Maybe.
Willing to bet.
Okay.
Okay, so my number 2 is Fire Emblem Awakening.
Is that 2012? I thought that was 2013.
I have it as 2012.
I think the Japanese release was 2012.
Well, that's what I got. I got it as 2012.
Okay. I keep looking. I'm going to look it up.
Okay. But Fire Emblem Awakening, it might have come out in the USA in 2013. My memory isn't all that good. I know I played it late because I didn't have a DS at the time, and he made me. And it was like, hey, you need to go out and buy a DS to play this one individual game.
Yeah, 2012 in Japan and 2013 outside Japan.
Well, I got my date wrong, but it's too late to switch it around. So, okay, I got Fire Emblem Awakening. It's a really fun tactical RPG game. It's from the Fire Emblem series. They started to give you child units, so that way you could have breeding and you had matchups and all that stuff, which was fucking amazing. A lot of people hate that aspect of it, and I don't know why. You had a whole bunch of different difficulty settings, which I thought was really cool. You could play it a lot more the classical style, where once your character is dead, it's gone forever. So I'm like, oh, hey, Nuzlocke challenge, great. Or you could play it, the regular way, where that doesn't happen, because why would you be masochistic like that?
Yeah, I am not.
No. And a lot of people yell at you when you bring that point up, and they're like, oh, that's the way it was meant to be played. It's like, it's meant to be played whichever setting I put it on, so go fuck yourself.
Yes.
Yeah, so I liked it a lot. Sorry I didn't double check my date on that one.
Yes, we'll hear more about that next year.
Yes.
My number 2 is Zero Escape Virtue's Last Reward, which is the sequel to 999. And for some reason, it seems like more people have played Virtue's Last Reward than 999. Probably because it was an early 3DS game and they were picking up every 3DS game they could get. I feel like you're missing out quite a bit if you're going into this sequel of a visual novel. But I have to admit, Virtue's Last Reward is much larger in scope and consequence than 999 is, even though I think I prefer 999 overall. But Virtue's Last Reward has like 20-something different endings, and it's incredible. It's a really, really good game, even if the graphics are kind of ugly, because it's like 3D models and early 3DS stuff. It's not the best looking game in the world, but the voice acting's incredible, the writing's incredible. It's just in general a very, very good game, and I highly recommend it, especially if you like 999 already. Pick up the Nonary games. It's a combination of those two together, and it hurt me not to be able to put the Nonary games itself on my lists because it's just like remasters.
Yeah, it's not a full remake.
But
did not qualify.
That's the definitive version of both of these games. So pick that up. It's on PS4 and Steam and Vita.
So on to number 1?
Yeah, I think that's probably the same.
Yeah, Mass Effect 3.
That's goddamn right.
So that was a very fun game. Playing it for the channel was especially entertaining to watch.
Yes.
It has one of my favorite reactions of all time that I did in it, where Trainer mentions Edie's sexy voice, and I...
Hey, girl! Hey, girl!
I lose my shit. It was great. The Citadel DLC, that was my first time ever seeing that. I thought that was amazing. Mm-hmm. Holy crap, did that blow my mind. It was awesome. Great way to send off a game.
Yes.
So I just thought it was a really well-made game. I love FemShep, and it was amazing to play.
See, our playthrough on the channel was illuminating to me in many ways, because I think I realized that I like Mass Effect 3 better than 2, specifically during that playthrough. Now, I'd played through all 3 games, well, all 4 games now, but all 3 games several times by then. And generally, I had always put 2 as the peak. But honestly, I think that 3 is in general a better game, gameplay-wise, and honestly, story-wise. The suicide mission is incredible and one of my favorite parts of any video game ever. But overall, I think that 3 has the stakes high throughout the entire game. I really like the cast, and the Citadel DLC is one of the best goddamn DLC campaigns ever.
Yeah, Shadow Broker also really good.
Yes, that's also pretty good. Too bad it's dragged down by Liara, but aside from that. I really, really like Mass Effect in general.
Yeah, it's a great series.
Yeah, man. So give us more BioWare, please.
Yeah.
Anyway, watch our series.
I think that's it for 2012, right?
Yes.
Okay, so on to 2013, the dark year of gaming for me. I had to dig deep to find some games that I had played this year and didn't outright hate.
Well, one of them was Fire Emblem Awakening.
Yeah, one of them was Fire Emblem Awakening, but I put that as the wrong year because I didn't double check my dates. So sorry about that. Anyways, I think one of these might also be a little bit wrong. Now that I'm looking at it, my dates are fucked up. I just wikied it because I couldn't remember which games came out which year, so I just did the list of games, and that means I didn't double check which games came out in America that year, except for one I did because I remember looking at it and going, that ain't right. But yeah, sorry about that. Anyways, 2013, my number 3 game. And I'm going to put it as number 3, specifically because I'm fairly certain I screwed up the year, is Final Fantasy XIV.
Okay.
Because I think that they did a Japanese release before they came out and did a worldwide release.
Even then, I think that FF14 is going to be controversial anyway, because it's just like the current version of the game is nothing like the original release.
Yeah, the original release was really weird. I remember a lot of people not liking it. It was buggy as hell, and they even did a thing for a while where it was free to play until they fixed it, which was insane. But they stuck by it, and that says a lot for it.
And people are obsessed with that game now.
Yeah, when they came back and they did finally fix it, it was amazing. And I played it for a bit. Really just made me want to go play WoW, because I am WoW boy for life.
Yeah. That's why I haven't played it.
Yeah. But playing it, it's an extremely well put together game. It is very pretty. I think it might be the technically best MMO out there right now that I've played.
Oh, sure.
Even though it's not, in my opinion, quite as enjoyable as WoW, the technical aspects of it are definitely better.
We've just been so invested in WoW for so long that it's hard to do a different MMO.
That's true. WoW boys for life. Anyways, on the user.
My number 3 is Pokemon X and Y.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't like this game. They think it's very generic.
I'm one of them.
I disagree. I think it's really fun. And it kind of brought me back into Pokemon because I was not a big fan of Unova in general, Black and White, and Black 2 and White 2. Though I like Black 2 and White 2 a little more. But X and Y got me to get a 3DS. Well, technically I had a 3DS before, but then I got rid of it because it was garbage. Well, no, it wasn't garbage, but you know what I mean. I didn't like the early days of the 3DS.
No one did.
Yeah, it was the OG 3DS sucks, but the 3DS XL, I made sure to get one before Pokemon came out, and I thoroughly enjoyed my time with it. I played through X and Y several times, which is not something I've done with Sun and Moon and Sword and Shield yet, anyway. But yeah, I like X and Y. I think it's a well-designed region. I like the new Pokemon. I like some of the starters. The story is not all that exciting, but whatever. In general, I thought it was a good game overall.
Yeah,
I think it deserves better than what it's been treating as on Twitter.
I suppose so. Anyways, my number 2 game is Tomb Raider, where those games started to come back out and all that stuff, which was very exciting because Tomb Raider was due for an update. But what drew me towards Tomb Raider wasn't that it was Tomb Raider and a part of my childhood, and I remember watching my dad playing those games and getting very angry, and that's where I learned a lot of interesting words. It was that Rihanna Pratchett was writing for them. Now, Rihanna Pratchett is the daughter of Terry Pratchett, who did the Discworld series.
Interesting.
Right? And I remember reading in an actual magazine, because I'm old, an article where she was talking about writing for that and how it was kind of difficult because of all the expectations going into it, not only because she was Pratchett's daughter, but also it's a Tomb Raider game. There are a lot of expectations with it. Overall, I think this game was pretty good. I think the ones that have come out since then have been better, and she's also done some writing for them, which is great. But yeah, I just want to do a special one for this one.
When I played that, because I got it on sale on the Xbox 360 a few years ago, I got irritated quickly because I felt like everything was a QTE.
Yeah, that was one of the big complaints about the game. I didn't find it too much of a problem. A lot of other games at the time were doing that. And I was just like, oh, this is kind of the style that these kind of games are going on right now. And I got over it. And then other games just stopped doing it because a lot of people fucking hate it. And I was like, hooray, I don't have to deal with that forever.
I blame God of War.
Yeah.
My number 2 is Animal Crossing New Leaf. Now, this was another game that convinced me to get a 3DS because my roommate had it, and I played on her 3DS all the time. And I was like, yo, this is tight as hell. I need to be a mayor of my own town. So when I got my 3DS, the first thing I did was download Animal Crossing on there and sink a lot of time into it. And then later on, several years later, I came back and started a new town and played that for a long time. And I'm pretty excited for New Horizons at this point because I love Animal Crossing in general, and I'm excited to waste some fucking time. So I really enjoyed New Leaf. I think it's probably the best existing Animal Crossing game, even though I've always said that the GameCube version is my favorite. I have a hard time justifying that after the Amiibo update for New Leaf. I think before that I could have said, yes, definitively the GameCube one's the best one. I don't know if I feel that way anymore. It's a really good game.
Fair enough. So my number 1 spot, and it should be telling that this game is number 1 spot when I had previously shit-talked it in another one. It's Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag. Now, I said back when I did a 2010 Assassin's Creed Brotherhood that all the successing Assassin's Creed games are inferior to it. I maintain that's true. Assassin's Creed 4 is still the number 1 game for me of 2013. It was still a fine game. A lot of people seem to really love the boat mechanics. I do not.
Except for the sneaky part.
Yeah, I do not specifically because of that fucking sneaky part where you had to be stealthy going through the damn bogs, and it made no sense, and I hated it so damn much. Just get out and walk. Anyways, it sucked. I was mad. But I did play it a lot. It's one of the few Assassin's Creed games that I've beaten all the way through and didn't give up halfway through going, what's the fucking point? I did, for the most part, enjoy it. I thought the story was pretty fun. But even still, I didn't like the main character. I didn't like a lot of the boat mechanics. I sure as hell didn't like the sneaky bit. There's a lot not to like about this game. And it just barely eked out Tomb Raider for the number one spot, though.
My number one is Fire Emblem Awakening.
Yeah.
It's probably what his number one should be as well.
Yeah, in the right year. Yeah.
This is a game that I had never known what Fire Emblem was. I had played Final Fantasy Tactics Advance as a lad and loved it. And I was like, I've never heard of any other game that is like that. Then one day on Smashboards, I'm in my my stage building contest. And we're doing a Fire Emblem round. And I'm like, well, I liked Roy in Melee. I'm going to make a stage based on his game. And then the judges were just like, dude, go out, pick up Awakening, or just do the demo first. And I'm like, okay, fine. So I downloaded the demo on my 3DS. And I was like, wow, this is like Final Fantasy Tactics Advance? Oh. So then I went out and bought it. And then I sold my soul.
Yeah.
I've put like 360 hours into Awakening. Just me. I'm not like our Three Houses time playing is divided between the two of us, and that's over 300 hours. But Awakening is all me, and I've played a fuck ton of it.
Yes,
I have battle saves for male and female Robin because I like specifically starting new games and romancing different characters together and building the child units. That's my favorite part of the game.
He has this very large, complex shipping grid.
I didn't make the shipping grid, but I found it on Tumblr, and I fell in love with it, and I've used it many, many, many times. I like the supports. I like the way that it works. I like the way that child units work, where you get specific classes depending on who the parents are, and passing down abilities from parents that might be exclusive, because it's just like, oh yeah, the females can't learn this particular move, but if their father knows it and passes it on to them, then there you have it. It's incredible, and I fucking love it, and it's really, really good, and the DLC for the game is also really, really good. And I lost my fucking mind when Robin and Lucina were confirmed for Smash 4 back in the day. I was watching the trailer at work, and I had to stop myself from screaming. So, yeah, I love Fire Emblem Awakening. For a very long time, it's been one of my favorite games ever, just overall. So, and I recommend it to everybody.
All right, so
I do have one honorable mention for 2013.
Yeah, what you got?
And that's Saints Row 4. I don't like it as much as 3, but I do thoroughly enjoy it. I think that they kind of overdid a lot of it, but at the same time, it exudes the style that the series is known for now very, very well.
Oh, okay.
And I'm going to play that one again, too, soon on Xbox One, because I haven't played the Get Out of Hell part yet.
Okay. So, on to 2014?
Yes.
Okay. So, 2014, a very weird year in gaming. I was mostly working in the warehouse at this time, so I did not play anything when it came out. I was busy putting in 100 hours a week at the warehouse. So all of this was played well after the fact. My number 3 spot is Middle-earth: Shadow of Mordor.
Okay.
A game that I picked up for PS4 just to have. I've played it a few times, and I keep coming back to it. It keeps sucking me in. Because when I'm first playing it, I'm like, man, I don't care about this. This kind of sucks. But I gotta play more. And then I keep on going like, man, this hasn't really gone too well. It keeps not developing the way that I want it to. I keep on not being able to do what I want. But I gotta play more. So then I just keep playing it. I think I've snuck in about 30 hours so far into the game. And it's mostly me just not doing what the game tells me to do to have an enjoyable experience. And then me hating it.
Oh, yeah?
Which is what I do with games. But, number 3 spot.
I think it's a pretty good year overall in whatever year this is.
2014.
Yeah, I like it.
You all right over there? Did you lose your spot in your list?
No, I found it.
Okay.
I was just looking at the list of games I've played this year, and I'm like, oh, yeah, that's not bad.
Shit. I fucked up next year, too.
Classic. My 2014 number 3 is a game that I only played for the first time this year as well. That's because it was an Xbox exclusive, and that's Sunset Overdrive. Made by Insomniac Games, who later made Spider-Man, but before that they did Ratchet & Clank, right?
Believe that's right.
And Spyro, I think.
Yes.
I didn't play those. I want to play Ratchet & Clank, but I haven't yet.
We got it set up on the channel.
Yeah,
to
one day.
Eventually get there.
But Sunset Overdrive is just like a kind of like a Saints Row-ish thing, but you kind of grind around like Tony Hawk, and it's got like a really good humor, and the combat's really good, and the story's pretty good. Overall, I really enjoy it. I'm sad to see it go to probably become a Sony exclusive next time, whenever there is a sequel. But it was a damn fine game, and I think it's on PC now. But for a while, it was an Xbone exclusive, so I didn't play it until this year when I got an Xbone. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. For a long time, it's what people said was the first good Xbox One exclusive, and I have to agree. It was a damn good game.
Nice. Alright, so my number 2, and this one is a bit interesting. It's Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes. Now, here's the thing. I looked it up. Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes and Metal Gear Solid 5 Phantom Pain are separate games. Entirely, according to Kojima himself.
He's a weird one.
He is a weird one, but it let me justify putting it on my list twice, so I'm gonna.
Oh, I see.
So Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes. I just love the Metal Gear Solid games. I've played them all. Except for some of the weird, like, PSP version ones. Those are... No, but all the mainline ones.
Peace Walker.
Yeah, all the mainline ones I've played, and I've enjoyed them. I thought they've always been great. This one, they changed up David Hayter for Kiefer Sutherland. Not a fan of that.
David Hayter.
No, I'm like, oh, I'm Kiefer Sutherland.
It's the same.
Yeah. But, you know, at least David Hayter is his own guy, whereas Kiefer Sutherland will never be as good as his dad.
Oh.
Yeah, that's right. Talking shit about an actor that, you know, no one cares about.
We're starting a beef with all the snakes.
Yeah. But yeah, played the game as part of the combo bundle that came out later, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a neat little intro into this time frame of Snake's life, and yeah, it was just a fun game.
Yeah, I saw him playing this one before he played the full Phantom Pain, so that's pretty cool. Can confirm he did play it.
Yeah.
My number 2 is Pokemon Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire.
Yep.
And it's my favorite Pokemon game overall. I am a big fan of Hoenn. I played through Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald several times as a lad. And I loved those. And then just like with the remakes of Johto's games, I think that they did an excellent job because they could focus on doing all the extra stuff rather than focusing on creating a unique environment because they already had that part done and all the Pokemon and everything. They didn't have to worry about that so much. So they were just like, yeah, let's just put as much interesting extra stuff into this game as we can. And I loved it very, very, very much. I've played through Oras like 4 or 5 times. And I love it.
Oras being O-R-A-S.
Yeah. I love it. I think it's probably going to be a bit before they usurp Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire as my favorite game in the series. Because I think it's a pretty high bar at this point.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah.
My number 1 game for 2014, though, is going to go towards South Park Stick of Truth.
Oh, okay.
Right? I played this more recently. I got it down on Steam. And I did not expect much of it. I picked it up for like $5. I really was just expecting it to be kind of like a dumb time waster kind of game. We were still experimenting, trying to figure out what to play for the channel. And I just kept playing it, and I beat the ever-living shit out of it. It was so much fun. I really, really enjoyed the battle system. I loved all the little, like cameos and all that stuff to the series as a whole because I'm a huge South Park fan. It was insane how much I loved this just dumb little game. And I need to play Fractured But Whole. I keep on wanting to wait until Stick of Truth is out of my mind enough that I can re-experience the magic. So I've held off on it. But Stick of Truth. It's a really fun game.
Yeah, I haven't played it. I kept meaning to, and I didn't. Looks fun though.
Yeah.
My number 1 is Shovel Knight: Shovel of Hope.
Of course it is.
I don't think there was going to be any kind of surprises on that one. I really like the Shovel Knight games in general. In fact, I did not for a long time. I had heard a lot of people talking about it. I'm like, I'm not really into that kind of Mega Man NES thing so much. But then I found it cheap on 3DS one day, and I'm like, alright, fine, I'll download this. I played it for a little bit. I'm like, this game's way too fucking hard. And then I gave up on it for like a year. And then I went back to it because I'm just like, alright, I need to play this game because everyone talks about how amazing this is. And then I pushed through and I beat Spectre Knight. And then once I did that, I was sufficiently into the game. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is actually really good. Everything is awesome about it. And, so I've played through Shovel of Hope many, many times now on many, many platforms.
Getting all the trophies.
Yeah, I beat Shovel of Hope on 3DS, which, by the way, that's one of the few games I definitely recommend playing with the 3D on, because the background is a separate layer and has separate layers within it, making for a really cool effect with the sprites. I played it on 3DS first, and then I also have it on Steam and Switch and PS4. Not that I played it on PS4 yet, and Xbox.
And I've gifted it to like 5 people.
Yes, it's true. It's a really good game. The Treasure Trove in general is a really, really good buy.
Yeah.
Even if you're not really into the Mega Man Castlevania stuff, trust me, if you at all like 2D platformers, this is probably like the best one.
Or at least it's up there.
It's pretty up there. Yeah, I mean, like, I would potentially maybe say other Shovel Knight entries are better. We'll talk about those later. I got 2 honorable mentions for 2014.
What you got?
First one, Smash 4. I really like Smash 4. In some ways, I like it better than Ultimate. Probably not truly, though. I just think that because I'm kind of like, I suck at Ultimate. But I really liked Smash 4. I think it was a big step up over Brawl and Melee in 64. I think it's, in general, a really great entry in the series, and I think it's going to be sad that it's forgotten because Ultimate is better. And the other one is your favorite game, DKC Tropical Freeze. It's a game that kind of sold me on buying a Wii U in the first place, because there weren't really a whole lot of games on the Wii U at that point. I'm just like, I don't really care.
That's the game that sold you on getting a Wii U?
Well, it's kind of the final nail in the coffin.
No wonder why the Wii U failed.
Anyway, I got very stoked for DKC Tropical Freeze, and then I played it, and I loved the shit out of it, and then I ended up getting it again on Switch, though I haven't played that one nearly as much as I did on the Wii U. It's a great game. Bobby doesn't like it, but aside from that, it's a very fine game. Not as good as a 2D platformer as Shovel Knight, in my opinion, but it's also kind of different feeling. The DKC is more of a momentum-based than Shovel Knight.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's go on to 2015, unless you had extras.
No, 2015. I got a question, though.
Okay.
What year do you have Fire Emblem Fates under?
16.
Okay, so for 2015, my honorable mention was Fire Emblem Fates.
Okay.
Though since the beginning, of course, I'm not suddenly swapping it around. And
yes, I see. Of course.
My number 3 game, which I'm actively playing, is Witcher 3.
That's also my number 3.
It's a fun game. It's this more like open world Skyrim-esque game, but people get mad when you compare it to Skyrim, even though it's very similar to Skyrim.
I could see why you would do that. It's better because it's third person.
It's better because it's third person, and the world building is a lot better.
Yeah. And
the characters matter.
By the way, I know that you can play Skyrim in third person. It just sucks that way.
Yeah, it's not built for it. So, I really like Witcher 3. So far, it's been a really fun game. I like Yennefer.
She's for life.
I've already seduced Yennefer.
Yes.
Yeah, it's great.
And Kira Metz.
I killed Kira
And then
Metz.
he killed her. That fucking bastard.
Yeah. She was going nuts, and the plot, not the plot, the dialogue options, didn't lead me to believe that it was going to be a, hey, I'll kill you. It was more of a, hey, you really need to not do that. Like, I'm going to stop you from killing yourself, sort of thing. And then, no, I killed her.
He's a monster. Yeah, I took a couple days off because, like, my boss was like, hey, you need to take some time off. And so I decided, hey, since I got a couple days off, I'm just going to play The Witcher 3 on my fancy new Xbox One X. And then I did. And then I played a lot of The Witcher 3. And I did beat it. And I did the Heart of Stone DLC. I don't care about Blood and Wine, even though I've heard it's better. Maybe one day I'll go back to it. I don't know. Probably not. It's a good game. It takes a lot for me to get into a game of that kind of setting. But man, it kind of, once it did pull me in, I was into it.
Yeah, there are a lot of flaws with it.
Yeah, it's not a perfect game.
I know a lot of people would be very mad at us for not putting this as our joint number one game.
No.
But, no.
It is a great game. Yeah. A very, very glitchy game, and I enjoy that.
Yeah. It's also just not the type of game that we typically enjoy in general. So just the fact that we both got it up there is impressive.
The fact that I beat it at all is impressive.
Yeah.
Like, I'll be real with you.
That's true.
It's truly shocking. We'll see if he does it.
Yeah,
he's pretty close.
I'll probably give up at some point.
He's pretty close to the end. I think he'll do it.
And I'll probably give up at some point.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, so that's both our number 3. My number 2 is Ori and the Blind Forest.
Oh, yeah.
We first played this one for the channel. I hadn't really heard of it. We had looked up some games and we were like, hey, want to try this one? And it looked interesting. So I played it. And it made me so fucking angry. But I loved it. I loved every single minute of it. I loved the Metroidvania.
I don't know about every single minute.
Yeah, every single minute.
Some footage.
I loved being so angry at it. That fucking owl bitch. And that fire level.
Yeah, and escaping from the water tree and...
Yeah, I had problems with this game.
His anger.
It was great. I loved it so much. So it had to be up there, you know? I thought it was an amazingly well put together game. It is absolutely gorgeous. I'm definitely playing the sequel almost as soon as it comes out, unless we hold off on a bit to make sure we can play it for the channel. Yeah.
Comes out day one on Game Pass, so fucking why not? You don't even have to pay for it.
That's true. You just gotta pay for Game Pass.
Well, I'm gonna do that anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ori's great. I didn't put it on my list because I've only been recently kind of playing it myself. And I haven't beaten it yet, and I'm just like, it's a great game. I'm sure he's going to talk about it. Whatever. My number 2 is going to be Shovel Knight Plague of Shadows.
Yep.
This is easily my least favorite Shovel Knight campaign. That does not mean it's a bad game. I actually thoroughly enjoy it. I think it's got a very interesting control scheme, and I like the story of it more than Shovel of Hope. But man, it's not the best one. Because unlike Spectre of Torment and King of Cards, the levels aren't completely remade to account for Plague Knight's control style. It's still the same Shovel Knight levels, but with using a completely different movement type, which sometimes can be very frustrating. Because Plague Knight is a very, very differently controlling kind of character.
Yeah.
But aside from that, it's still a great game, and you can tell that they accounted for it a little bit anyway. They added extra parts to the levels, and the overall plot is kind of like a parallel universe version of Shovel of Hope's plot, which is really good too. I really like the game in general, but it's not my number 1.
Fair enough. So my number 1 for 2015 is Metal Gear Solid 5 Phantom Pain, what most people would consider the full Metal Gear Solid 5 game, where you do all the actual missions and all that stuff and defeat the little skull troopers, and they're so mean and I hate them so much. But I had a lot of fun with this game. I like just riding around and picking up plants. It sounds weird. And collecting all the little animals in little bitty cages and using the bait bottles. I loved it so much.
And being whistled at constantly.
Yeah, because I like quiet as my partner, so she likes to hum, and he got really fucking sick of it.
I got very irritated about that.
I don't care. I love her a lot. She's awesome.
I'm sure in context it's great, but when I'm sitting across the room just hearing it all the time, I'm like, oh my god, please.
He even has like special noise canceling headphones. Went right through them. It was awesome. I love her so much. Yeah, I thought it was a really fun game. I approached it in a whole bunch of different play styles. You know, sometimes I'd just be like, hey, I don't really want to care about this tank, so I'm going to blow it up. And then you just run in and blow shit up. And other times you're just like, I want to snipe out every single person in this village. And it's a big village. So take your time. I like it.
I think it's really funny just attaching the parachute things to everything.
Oh,
and
yeah.
just watching it just fly off like the dogs or whatever.
Yeah.
And they're just like, woo! Yeah, it's pretty funny. I probably won't play it.
Probably not, but it was my number one.
My number one is a game that I've played, and I've played at least an hour of, but I haven't personally beaten it, but I also still fucking love this game, and that's Undertale. I've watched several people do playthroughs of this game many, many times, and it's a very, very good game. Gameplay-wise, I think it's the gameplay that's going to prevent me from personally ever beating it myself.
Not a fan of the bullet hell.
Yeah, the bullet hell kind of stuff is not my thing so much, but I love watching other people's reactions to, figuring out the answers to beating the enemies, watching them do the normal playthrough, and then the
Pacifist.
I wanted to say Paragon and Renegade. That's not right. Pacifist playthrough.
Pretty much is right.
And then the Genocide run through, and just like how they really hate the Genocide run through, and then like I just skip through like watching them do the boss fights for several hours because they're so hard. It's pretty interesting, and the music is just incredible. And Toby Fox is a fucking genius. Incredible story that you just think about a lot. And there's a reason why this game blew the fuck up. So much so that people got so sick of it because everyone was talking about it so much. But honestly, I think it deserved it. It was an incredible game, and especially for an indie game. The fact that it's blown up to the size that it has is just incredible. And Deltarune, I hope that it can live up.
Fair enough.
Do you had any extras for 2015?
Well, originally I had, Fire Emblem Fates on here, and Witcher 3 was the honorable mention. So no.
Oh, okay.
Going into 2016.
This one was hard.
This one was very hard. I have like the most honorable mentions and all that stuff in this one, and it was extremely difficult to narrow down. But my number 3 spot is going to go towards an interesting game. You may have heard of it, called Pokemon Uranium.
Oh, okay.
This was an indie game made for Pokemon about radioactive fallout and stuff like that, which was interesting. They got many cease and desist letters. They did not. They kept going, then they actually shut down, and then now there's other fan sites, and you can still find it on, like, torrenting sites and all that.
Yeah, I downloaded it immediately just so that, I knew that it was going to get taken down.
Yeah. The initial release was a bit glitchy. It really didn't want to work right. There were just some odd things to it. Eventually it got patched, and eventually it worked out really, really well. It's a really good Pokemon game. Now, the reason why I haven't had other Pokemon games on here is because, well, I just haven't. Other games just managed to eke them out. But this one, I went out of my way to make sure, no, this one's getting on my list. I want to talk about this game because it's one of the most well-thought-out indie games that I've ever seen. It is huge. And I loved it. And I thought the original Pokemon for it, especially like the evolution for Uranium, was awesome.
Yeah, they added a new type that was, what was it? It was weak to and strong against literally every type?
Something like that, like nuclear or
something
whatever.
like that, yeah.
Yeah, it was interesting. It's a lot of fun. If you feel like looking it up, I highly recommend it. You have to probably get a lot more familiar with downloading homebrew games and all that stuff and running that. But it's totally worth it. It's a fantastic game.
Yeah, I played it a little bit. The frame rate bothered me with the initial release, so I didn't play it that much more. But I didn't know that it got patched later, so that's good to know.
Oh yeah, it's still getting patched, I think as recently as earlier this year.
Okay.
Where the official people took it down, but then fans took up the mantle and have been slightly improving it
Okay. My number 3 is Fire Emblem Fates. Because I researched when it came out, because I remembered when it came out. It's not as good as Awakening. I do really like Fates. I think that people are kind of overhating on it. It's not the best game story-wise. And I think a lot of people just don't like it because they don't like Corrin. I guess I can understand that. But it's still a decent game. I've put a lot of time into it, not as much as Awakening. It's still my number 2 most played 3DS game, though. Probably pretty easily, I would say. And I've got a shipping grid for that, too.
Yep.
But it's... Nina is one of my favorite characters from Fire Emblem in general. And there are a few really, really good characters in Fates. But overall, it's not one that I'm thinking about going back and revisiting all the time. But it's a good enough game to make my top 3, I think, for sure.
Which is why it's my number 2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I actually had to shift my list around a bit in my head to adjust for the year. But yeah, Fire Emblem Fates is my number 2 game. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a very, very well thought out follow-up to Awakening. Even though it's not like a direct sequel or anything like that. It's just Fire Emblem does that whole thing.
Final Fantasy.
Yeah. I really enjoyed it. I liked a lot of the characters. I liked some of the characters better than the characters I liked in Awakening. I thought Fates had some really standout characters. I'm just like, hi, I love you now. Thanks.
Yeah, he really likes Camilla.
Yes, I fucking do. I think she's great. And I don't like her just because the
titties.
Right. I like her personality. I like how fucking nuts she is. I want her to hurt me. So, yeah, I really like Fates.
Yeah, Fates has some good characters, man. A lot of people kind of overlook them because they think Corrin is so bad, but honestly, some of them are pretty good characters.
Yeah, can absolutely agree.
As for my number 2, that's going to go to Hitman 2016. Honestly, I had kind of given up on Hitman by that point because Absolution pissed me off so much. Blood Money is one of my favorite games of all time. Come out in like 2005, right? Then Absolution comes out, and I think it was 2011, and Square Enix is just like, hey, I'm Square Enix, I'm going to ruin it. And I'm like, how dare you? And then they give it back to IO, and it's just right. It's a damn good Hitman game, unlike Absolution, which was a good game, but not a good Hitman game. But I think they brought it back to the right place, and the levels were correct. Like size, not linear, with many, many different ways to accomplish your goals, which is what you needed to do for Hitman. It's a great game. I recommend it to anybody pretty much.
Nice.
I played a lot of it on PC.
I can see that.
A lot of it.
So, on to number 1s?
Yes.
Okay, so my number 1 is Overwatch.
My number 1 is Overwatch.
Because, of course, it is.
Yeah.
This game blew up. We got so involved into it.
Yeah.
Getting the skins. We each have some merch from our favorite Overwatch League teams that I don't think... I'm wearing one of mine right now.
He's wearing his, but I'm not.
Okay. Yeah. Go Soul Dynasty, though not anymore.
Yeah, there's no point.
I'm mad now. So, go Shanghai Dragons.
Yeah.
Next season.
Gladiators for life.
So, yeah, we have opinions about it. We were up looking at the new character releases when they were coming out. We were going home and beta testing them as soon as we could. It was a phenomenon.
I convinced him to play it when he was still in Tennessee. And so, like, I'm here in California, he's in Tennessee, and we're playing, like, almost every day after we both get home from work, which was fun. And then when he moves out here, we're still playing it. He's just back in his room, and I'm still out here in the front room just playing it. And we played a lot of Overwatch.
Yeah.
Man.
We're still only about gold tier level players, but
yeah,
whatever.
We don't really play competitive. We're not the best. And we haven't played in a little while, but for 2016, yeah, it's
some very fun memories. At one point, we teamed up with some buddies from my work back when I was working at a different spot. Mm-hmm. And I remember we were kind of like letting them play what they wanted, which was normally what we played, but they were kind of sucking at it. And I remember vividly at one point, they're like, hey, why are we keep losing? It's like, because we usually play this. And they're like, okay, well, you play that. And we had gotten matched so low because of their crappy tanking that when we switched over to our normal mains and all that stuff and took on those roles, we steamrolled the opposite team. I got 26 kills and didn't die.
Yeah.
We were rude. So that was a lot of fun.
We got pretty good at being the peripheral type of characters. Bobby would play tank and I'd play support, and we'd just get matched up with DPS players pretty much.
Yeah.
And that worked out. I got pretty fucking good with like several of the different support characters.
I became a decent Reinhardt.
Yeah, and we on occasion we'd play DPS. Like I got really good with May for a while, but
and I was a mean soldier.
Yes, it's true. He's a better soldier than most of the Overwatch League players.
That's just because they don't play soldier.
They don't play soldier correctly, anyway.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, we played quite a lot of Overwatch. So much so that it's easily Game of 2016.
Absolutely.
But I do have extras for 2016.
So do I. But
this was a hard one.
But I'm going to do mine first.
Okay.
Because you've gotten one so far. So my honorable mentions are Persona 5.
Okay.
Which I got for Christmas. And I really wanted to enjoy, but didn't as much as I had hoped I would. Pokemon Sun and Moon, which I thought was awesome. Pokemon Go, which came out that year. And I played a lot of, but not enough. And then Shantae Half Genie Hero, which we played for the channel, and that was a lot of fun. And I like Rowdy Tops.
Yes. I want to give an extra shout out to Final Fantasy 15 for being the numbered Final Fantasy that I've put the most time into.
Final Fantasy 15 shows up somewhere else on my list.
Yeah.
We'll get to that later.
You'll get to that. It's not a perfect game.
I'll say
the dungeons piss me off a lot. I really hate the dungeons. I kind of like everything else though.
Oh, of course you do.
I got like probably halfway through, almost more than halfway through. I liked it enough, and it is a very, very pretty game. I also wanted to say Valhalla, which is another visual novel type game that I played this year. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I kind of think about it a lot. I'm just like, man, I wish I could go and play through that again. I know there's another game in the same series that exists that I haven't played yet, but it's all the same. I really liked Valhalla.
One of these days we'll play it.
And Zero Time Dilemma. See, I've put the other two Zero Escape games on my lists. Zero Time Dilemma isn't nearly as good as those two. Once I was sufficiently into the game, I just enjoyed it until the very end. But it takes a bit, and it's really hard to keep track of because it's non-linear in its storytelling, which makes sense in context, but it gets really frustrating too.
Fair enough.
So it wasn't going to make my top 3, but I still wanted to mention it because it's still the cap for the trilogy. And so I needed to mention that too.
Fair enough.
But yeah, on to 2017.
On to 2017. My number 3 is a game that I put a lot of time into, and I know one of our main viewers put a ton of time into as well, because we talked about it a lot. It's Xenoblade Chronicles 2. This game probably would have been number 1 in just about every other year that doesn't have a Mass Effect in it.
2017 is fucking incredible.
Yeah, it was a year for games.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this time it just managed to just be number 3, but I thought it was a fantastic game. It is a huge, huge world. Not as big as some of the other ones in the Xenoblade universe, I understand that, but it was still very big.
I also should mention that at this point, we've already talked about these games before, because we were making the channel in 2017. So we have a best games of 2017 list, and it's interesting to see how these things will have changed.
Right, because we've played some games since then.
Right.
That, we hadn't originally played before.
Right.
So I think one of them ends up on this list as the number 1 spot. So that's going to be interesting.
Yeah. So he hadn't played Xenoblade 2 by this point when we made that video, because it came out like in December.
Yeah, and it took a while for me to get to it.
Right.
But now that I have, it's my number 3 for 2017. I thought it was a gorgeous, huge game. Some of the plot elements you could see coming from a mile away, and it's kind of cheesy, but whatever.
I would really like for him to play the remake of Xenoblade Chronicles 1 when it comes out, because I really like Xenoblade Chronicles 1 as a story more than 2. But 2 is also pretty good.
Yeah.
I would also like X to come to Switch.
That would be nice.
So just bring it all. Just bring it all.
Yeah.
My number 3 for 2017 is Shovel Knight Spectre of Torment.
Just number 3.
It's truly shocking that it's just number 3 because what a fucking incredible game.
Yeah.
But 2017 is so good that this game is only number 3. Yeah, it's the best Shovel Knight game. I think it's got the best story, the best gameplay, the best music. Fucking amazing. I've beaten the hard mode, which essentially means that you need to become a speedrunner for the game, and I thoroughly enjoyed that up until the final boss when I got very mad.
He did get very mad.
But once I figured it out, it was okay. But yeah, it's a very, very good game. I highly recommend it to anybody. Again, just the treasure trove in general, I recommend to everybody. But yeah, play Spectre Torment.
All right, so my number 2, and some people may get mad it's just number 2, is Breath of the Wild.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoyed this game. We put many hours into it when it first came out.
So much so that we were just playing so much Fire Emblem just to try to usurp Breath of the Wild on the system's number of hours.
Yeah, I think overall it ended up being like 293 hours.
Something like that.
Yeah, that we put into Breath of the Wild when it first came out. It's really, really fun. I loved going through all the different little dungeons and doing little different challenges and puzzles and all that stuff. I really liked just running around and exploring all the little labyrinths that were around there. That was a lot of fun. The weapon breaking system you got used to really fast. It still wasn't my favorite thing, but whatever. I like the idea that you could just walk up to a mountain and climb that shit.
Yeah.
That was unbelievable. That was super fun. Yeah, I just really loved it. I just wish it was like a little bit more populated in certain areas. If I go to a desert town, I would like to see a desert town.
Right.
Worthy to have a queen. Not just, oh, hey, look, there's 2 huts. So, that's sort of my only gripe with it. But it was a very beautiful game. It was an awesome way to get introduced the Switch.
Yeah.
So, many kudos for that. It was really fun. I really loved it.
I'll be real with you. The further we get away from Breath of the Wild, the less into it I am. I'm not really a Zelda person in the first place, but I feel like a lot of the Zelda charm was lost with Breath of the Wild, which some people will say is a good thing. The series had gotten stale by that point and it needed a refresh. But I think a lot of Breath of the Wild bothers me because so much of the game looks exactly the same. Like, 70% of the overworld is just like the green look and, oh hey, there's maybe some trees. And all the shrines have exactly the same music and the same look inside. And I think it gets a little dull after a while.
It doesn't get dull to collect Korok seeds.
Yeah, that too.
To collect your golden pile of poo.
Yeah. Overall, I'm not... in our video in 2017, I put Breath of the Wild at my number 3. Honestly, this time I never even considered putting it in my top 3. But, I mean, I'm not going to say it's a bad game. I'm less into it than I once was.
Fair enough.
My number 2 is a game that I believe I had at number 4 at the time. But I revisited it this year and liked it a lot more. And that's Mass Effect Andromeda. When this game came out, it got such a bad rap. It still does. Because it was mostly unfinished at the time of release. I played it then, and I enjoyed it enough. I thought, yeah, this is pretty good. But that was it. I was like, I'm not really intending on playing this game again. After I got my Xbox, I picked up Mass Effect Andromeda because it was reasonably cheap, and I'm like, alright, I like Mass Effect, let's just do this. And then I spent a month playing it over and over and over. And I 100%ed the game. And honestly, at this point, it is a great game. I think I like it better than 1, possibly better than 2. That's going to be a hard sell for me because I really love 2. But Andromeda definitely has the best gameplay in the series.
Well, here, I'm going to make this simple for you.
Okay.
Does something call you Siha in Andromeda?
No.
Then it's not better than 2 or 3.
Because the DLC never came out. The DLC with the Quarian ship that was going to have the Drell on it never came out because the game was so hated by critics. So probably could have
It probably could have, but it did not. So it's not better than 2 or 3.
Yeah, I guess I generally wouldn't pick Thane anyway. But
Look, Thane calling me Siha. I'm not even into frog dudes. I don't care. I want him to whisper Siha to me.
Anyway, yes, I 100%ed Andromeda. I got all of the achievements on Xbox, and I thoroughly enjoyed myself as I did so. It was glitchy, sure, not as glitchy as Witcher 3, but it was glitchy, and it never bothered me very much. That was fine. It's a great game with a great story. I like Ryder better than Shepard. I mean, it's interesting shit. I like Drac better than any of the Krogan from the trilogy also, it's hard to say. I pick and choose my favorite things from Andromeda, and I think it's underrated overall.
Fair enough. Well, it'd be hard not to be underrated.
True.
That's so mean, but it's so true. My number 1 for 2017 is a game that I played a little bit later, and I didn't appreciate it as much as I thought I did. But the more that I sit on it, the more that I think about it, the more I look at it, the more I love it. It's Horizon Zero Dawn.
Oh, okay. I didn't expect that.
I even have this as like my theme for my PlayStation account now, because I wanted it, so I got it. I love this game. Holy crap, do I love this game. It starts off a little bit slow, a little bit introductory style. You kind of get like this weird, almost God of War-y feel, but not as many quick time events. And then you start exploring, and then you realize it's nothing like God of War. Cough.
Yeah.
Anyways, you go exploring, there's a whole bunch of these like old machines that are still like little raptors and all that stuff, or just have little grazing things. They're all around the world. You have to go collect them. You collect parts from them. You have this little build system to get better weapons and things like that. There are full-on cities in the middle of places, but they're very well protected as much as they can be, and you have to go around and explore them and solve a whole bunch of problems, and you figure out why the robots are the way they are, what happened here, why does humanity, go from building these intricate machines and robots and all that stuff down to, fur traders again. It's a really fantastic story. I really love the gameplay. It is a gorgeous game. So, yeah, I see you shaking your head over there.
No, I was nodding.
Yeah, I see you nodding.
Oh, okay.
In agreement. Yes. So
I think it's a very interesting take on a post-apocalyptic world.
Yeah.
Yeah, because a lot of the time they'll just do that Fallout thing. It's just like, oh yeah, everything's brown and it's all nuclear and we got mutants and shit. No, man, it's just like...
Yeah, this one is green and lush and vibrant.
It's beautiful, and we've got, fully fleshed out characters and robot dinosaurs for some reason, but it's pretty tight. I've always thought of this game as kind of a mishmash of a bunch of different games. When I first saw it at E3, I'm like, oh, is that Xenoblade Mass Effect Brave game?
And yes.
Shadow of the Colossus game?
Yes, it is. That's exactly what it is. It takes the best parts of all of those and mixes it into one game.
It's not a bad thing. It's just kind of an interesting thing. If it was on Xbox, I'd probably play it, but I'm not interested enough to play it on PS4 because I hate the PS4. But
it's my number 1 game. I think it's amazing.
Yeah, you won't be surprised by my number 1 game.
No, it's probably my honorable mention.
It's Super Mario Odyssey.
Yep, that's my honorable mention.
It is a fucking amazing game, and I played it on the channel, and I loved the shit out of it, and I have played it many times since 2017. In fact, I think I played it multiple times in 2017, despite the fact that it came out near the end. It was a very good game. Kind of a return to form for Mario platforming, and I would love to see a sequel. But they're going to make a Breath of the Wild sequel first. And I'm like, God damn you. Come out with the Odyssey sequel, you cowards. Please.
Yeah.
I fucking love Odyssey. It's almost a perfect game, honestly. And even then, the more I play it, the more I forgive the things I didn't initially like. So I'm just like, give me more of this. Do not go back to Galaxy, no matter what people tell you. Galaxy is stupid in comparison.
I agree.
That's it.
That's it?
Yeah, honorable mentions.
Yeah, my honorable mention is Super Mario Odyssey. What you got?
Hollow Knight.
Yep, okay.
I played the shit out of Hollow Knight on the Switch when I went on my cruise, and I loved it. It's a Metroidvania. It's a very, very difficult one, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's good. And let's see, anything else? Not Crash.
Not Crash?
Yeah, specifically not Crash, because
Nice.
I fucking hate Crash.
Crash Bandicoot's good. I don't know what he's
Oh,
going
Hat in Time! Was another 3D platformer that came out that year, and we played it on the channel. Very good game.
Was that 2017?
Yeah, 2017 is the year of the platform. Ukulele came out, Odyssey came out, Hat in Time came out.
Then also honorable mention for Hat in Time.
Yeah.
For some reason that one didn't make my list, but it should have.
Yeah, it's a very good game.
Especially with the swear mod.
Yeah, especially with the swear mod. As far as platformers go, it's not going to compare to Odyssey, but it's a really, really good game.
Yes.
Yeah, let's move on to 2018.
2018. Okay, so this is the interesting one because I'm sure my list is very different. I don't remember what my list was on the channel before, but I know I've played a few games since that video from 2018 because I'm still playing catch up. Anyways, my number 3 spot is going to be Dragon Quest XI
Okay.
for PS4 is when I played it. This is the one that I mentioned specifically that I had to look up the year on because it came out like mid-2017 in Japan. And I remember thinking, there's no way it came out mid-2017. I was actively looking for this game. And yeah, there was just a massive delay getting it over to America for some reason. But anyways, played it. I've played the Dragon Quest series since I was wee babbo.
Since he was in the womb.
Literally since I was in the womb. That's not a joke. My mom got a Nintendo while she was pregnant with me, so that way, you know, when she couldn't move, she would have at least something kind of entertaining, and she got the first Dragon Quest Warrior game, which was interesting. But yeah, Dragon Quest XI, played a lot of it, still haven't beaten it. I've gotten up to the final boss, you know, you do like the whole time skip and all that stuff, it's great. It's really fun. I really like the characters. I like the city. I really like the world. It is very pretty. I don't care so much for the crafting system. That's one of the things that Dragon Quest keeps on trying to do, and I really don't care about. But, I mean, it's Akira Toriyama character designs. You know, you deal with just about any amount of bullshit for those character designs. They're great, and I love it so much.
Yeah. I want to play the Dragon Quest Builders too.
Oh, yeah.
I think that looks like fun. I've heard really good things about the Switch version of Dragon Quest XI.
Yeah, they added a lot.
They fixed the soundtrack, which the original release has this weird synthesizer thing that's really on your nerves. Much like stupid MGS5 humming, his Dragon Quest XI thing bugged the crap out of me. Because I hated that Overworld song so much.
Sorry.
But I'm told that the Switch version is better. And adds so much extra stuff to it, which is interesting. And fun fact, Dragon Quest XI was the first Switch game ever announced. Which is interesting that the Switch version only came out in 2019. But yeah, the first ever game to have NX as a available system was a trailer for Dragon Quest.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Did not know that.
Yeah.
Took their time.
Yeah, they did. Well, I'm glad they did.
Yeah.
Anyway, so my number 3 for 2018 is Hitman 2. Much like Hitman 2016, this is basically almost the same game, just with different levels. And that's all I want from a new Hitman game. Once they've got it down, don't fuck with it.
Yeah.
So they gave me new levels, and I spent so much time in that Florida level. So much time just doing it in so many different ways. And I've played the other levels too. But it's a really, really good
I remember
game.
him specifically not liking playing the other levels. He was just like, yeah, I should, but I really like this Florida level.
Yeah, there's way too much stuff to do, man. You don't want to go to the other ones.
It wasn't that the other levels were bad. They were great. He just didn't want to leave Florida.
I just wasn't done with it yet, man. There's
Yeah.
so much to do, so much to see.
So what's wrong with being Florida man?
Exactly.
Everything is wrong with being Florida man.
But yeah, Hitman 2, really, really good game. Very pretty. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Even the tutorial level I did several times because I really enjoyed looking at it and playing with it. And something that they've done is they've continuously made sure that this game, and the 2016 one, but I think Hitman 2 more so, is continuously updated with new contracts on the existing levels.
Yes.
So, like, they'll release an official new target for you to take out in the Florida level or wherever. So you've got different stuff to do on the existing levels, And it's so much fun because you already know those levels, and you're just like, ooh, now I have to do this, and that's interesting. I really enjoyed Hitman 2. It's really good. So I hope that they just keep going with the same formula. Don't fuck with it too much. Because they got it just right.
Fair enough. My number 2 game for 2018 is Valkyria Chronicles 4. We picked up a couple of Valkyria games just during a GameStop sale, really. And I remember picking up like the first one that was remastered and something else. And then number 4, which had just come out that year. And I was like, alright, sure. And then eventually I got around to playing them. And Valkyria Chronicles 4 was by far the best one. Holy crap. So many just little life improvements for gameplay. That was awesome. I loved the characters. I loved the characters especially in the DLC, where the creators got to have a little bit of fun with it. There's some interesting stuff. You get a beach episode. It's fantastic.
Yeah, and Greg Choon is in full Greg Choon.
Yes. It's a wartime tactical game. So it's not like an overhead tactical RPG, because you still have to like run to a certain spot with the character when it's their turn. And then you have to still direct fire and all that stuff. And you also get tanks, which is great.
Yeah, it's like a third-person tactical RPG.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. I didn't like the battle system at first. I got over that in about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And then I started falling in love with the game. It was a whole lot of fun. It can be very, very challenging because of the particular gameplay style. They really lean into it, and it makes for a very interesting game. And I think it's fairly pretty. Especially some of the cutscenes. They don't go too, far into like the graphical thing, because it's more of a gameplay thing, more of a story thing. But it's still pretty, and I really enjoyed it, and I really like the characters.
Nice.
Yeah.
So here's a shift. My number 2 is Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. In our 2018 Games of the Year.
I'm sorry, did you say number 2?
It was my number 1 before. Now it has shifted to number 2. And it's a great game. Don't get me wrong. I think I was just riding really high on it at the time.
I believe you're blaspheming against like your own code of ethics here. This is unusual.
Yeah. Like I've said before, I'm much more into the pre-release hype of a Smash Brothers game than after it comes out, because now I'm looking at it and I'm like, yeah, it's a good game. I suck fucking ass at it. I liked World of Light, but it's not as cool as it could have been. I like that all the characters are there. That's the biggest selling point for me at this point. But the online's not that great. Smash 4 had a better online. And, it's kind of give and take for me. So it's still a great game, to be in my top 2. But it's not my number 1 anymore. I thoroughly enjoy it, and I've been kind of enjoying the DLC. What I mean by that is Banjo-Kazooie, and I don't care about the rest of them. Because Joker don't care about Persona, Hero don't care about Dragon Quest, Terry Bogard could never care about Fatal Fury, but Banjo is great. So hopefully the 5th one's pretty good. But yeah, it's a very good Smash Brothers game, probably the definitive Smash Brothers game. I'm just not as into it as I was last year.
Fair enough.
How about you? What's your number 1?
My number 1 hasn't changed. Octopath Traveler.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Right? I cannot tell you how hyped I got over this game, how much I hid in my corner of a room and beat the shit out of it. Just stole the Switch. He didn't see it for a month.
It's true.
I love this game. I love all the characters in this game. I love the sprites in this game. I love the battle system. I love how you grow as a character. I love the overall story. I like the little side quest. I love this game. So, now that I've hyped it up enough, can you guess what my overall game for the decade is?
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Shouldn't come as a surprise.
We'll get to that.
That's how much I love this game. There was no way it was not going to be number 1. The fact that some sites like Polygon or Kotaku rate it below Nintendo Labo,
yeah, that's pretty sad.
Makes me mad. It's
and
so wrong.
The team that made Octopath Traveler is making the new Bravely game,
which is awesome, and I like the Bravely series.
So he's probably going to be
I'm gonna
hyped
go
as fuck on that.
I'm gonna hide again and just.
So in the swap, my number 1 is now Spider-Man.
Really?
Which kind of surprised me. Like, because I had it the other way around still. up until I was listening to the Game Explain version of this video, pretty much, for 2018. And I'm listening to Steve talk about Spider-Man, and I'm just like, man, I really loved that game. I really, really loved that game. And I would really like a sequel to that game. I think that the combination of playing Spider-Man and then Sunset Overdrive made me fall in love with Spider-Man even more.
Oh, okay. I can see that.
And I would really like a sequel ASAP because I thoroughly enjoyed it. I've watched a lot of videos about how it's good story design, game design, and everything like that. It's probably just one of the best games that have come out this decade. As far as superhero games go, you basically got maybe 2 of the Arkham games and Spider-Man, and those are the best ones. And honestly, you could make a case for Spider-Man being better. I didn't feel that way at the time, but as time passes, I'm kind of starting to lean that way. And the fact that this is a PS4 exclusive and I'm talking about it this highly should really tell you something.
Yeah,
because
he really hates PlayStation.
I really don't like PlayStation. But I loved this game enough that we got a PlayStation.
Yeah, that was really the big driving force behind getting a PlayStation. It's like, yeah, I want one, but there aren't that any exclusives that I'm super excited about because I didn't have them yet.
Yeah.
And then Spider-Man came out. I was like, well, that's the exclusive we were waiting for.
Yeah.
Ain't got an excuse now. Got to go get a PlayStation.
It's an incredible game, and I need this. I didn't even play the DLC. I should probably go back and play through the game again and get the DLC, which has Erica Lindbeck in it.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, it's just a really, really good game, you guys. If you haven't played it, please play it.
Top notch.
Now let's go to 2019. I had written mine as a top 5, but then Bobby said he only had a top 3, so I'll just turn my 4 and 5 into honorable mentions.
Right, because it turns out I've just been playing games from 2015 to 2018 this year. I haven't played too many games that actually came out this year.
That's alright.
Because I'm awful.
What's your number 3?
Okay, my number 3 is Bloodstained Ritual of the Night.
Okay, I'm kind of surprised.
Right. I picked this game up because of its recommendation as a Castlevania thing, and I think I did a shout-out to it in one of our games, where it is very Castlevania-y, it is very pretty, the crafting system is ass, but it's a lot of that Castlevania nostalgia feel that you've been looking for. That a lot of even the newer Castlevania games have, shifted away from, but this Bloodstained game just reeled it right back in, and it was awesome. The intro level is Bane's.
Yeah.
I did not care for that at
Okay, maybe
all.
I just need to keep going then.
Once you get past it, it opens up and it starts feeling a lot more, natural feeling, and it jives a lot better. But the crafting system in that first level really bog it down, and I did not care for that much at all.
Yeah, this game's on Game Pass, so I played it a little bit. I basically just the boat level, and then I was like, I don't like this, so I stopped playing.
Yeah, once you get past that boat level, it opens up a bit and it feels better.
I made my blood white so that it would be jizz.
Yeah, the fact that you could change your blood to different colors was interesting.
And the main character is Erica Lindbeck.
Yes.
So, yeah.
But yeah, I really liked it.
All right. My number 3, I'm assuming, is going to appear on your list. It's Pokemon Sword and Shield.
What a shock.
I liked this game quite a bit. I kind of went into it not all that hyped for it. Not as hyped as I should be for a Pokemon game. Clearly just because, there's so many Pokemon missing, whatever.
Yeah.
I got over that pretty quickly because it's a good game overall. And I kind of got absorbed into it and thoroughly enjoyed myself. I'm planning on playing through it again on a second profile because I can.
Yeah, just separate profiles.
Yeah,
it's
man,
It's great.
Switch is great. And yeah, it's a great game. I like a lot of the new Pokemon. I like the plot overall. It's good. I like the region. A lot of quality of life improvements. It's a great Pokemon game. I just kind of wish that it had the full Pokédex available.
I wish I had the full Pokédex, and I wish there was just a little bit more of the plot going on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
I'm always looking for something to match Pokemon Emerald, which is the maximum like a Pokemon game could be, in my opinion, in terms of the non-Elite Four plot. and nothing has quite matched up yet.
Yeah,
But that's my only dig against it, which is why it's my number 2 slot.
I figured. Oh, that's it?
Yeah, that's it. You pretty much said everything that I wanted to. Yeah. I got a lot more absorbed into it than he did.
Yeah. Once I finished the game, I was pretty much done.
Yeah, I kept on, like, getting all the Gigantamax Pokemon that I could in my version, and buying every item from the shops in my version, so that way I don't have to worry about what I want my character to look like. I'll just make her look like it.
Yeah.
Because I did that. And I was going to complete the Curry Dex, but then I realized I don't care about the Curry Dex, so that's where I stopped.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good game. I'm expecting a sequel, like an Ultra Moon kind of thing. Or maybe, hopefully, more like a Black 2 kind of thing, where it's like a separate story. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, I'm sure that we'll double dip and get both versions of that whenever it happens. My number 2 is AI The Somnium Files. Now, this is pretty much the only game that I was super looking forward to coming into 2019. Super looking forward to, I should say. Because it's an Uchikoshi game who made the Zero Escape games.
Wasn't there a little trivia thing on it that's like, why are you into this game? Why did you get it? And one of the answers was, it's an Uchikoshi game.
Yes. I was sent a survey by Spike Chunsoft, and it's just like, why are you interested in this game? And one of the questions one of the answers as a drop down answer was, it's an Uchikoshi game, or I'm an Uchikoshi fan, and I am. You could have handed me this game and I could have played it, and I could have told you without knowing previously that this was an Uchikoshi game just based on how the writing is. And it's really good plot. Very similar to Zero Escape in a lot of ways. And a great visual novel. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Full voice acting with Greg Chun as Date. He did a great job. Karina Bedecker as Mizuki is a standout. And Erica Harlacher as Aiba also. Allegra Clark as Boss. Oh my god, dude, this whole fucking game and its voice cast, incredible. The plot, incredible. The different paths, just so good. And I'm sad that this game's going under the radar. I'm not surprised that it is, but it deserves better. And I'm getting Garrison to play it now, which is good.
Nice.
And I need more people to play it, so please play it. But maybe play it on PS4 or PC. The Switch version has a lot of weird hang-ups, which I don't think is necessary for a visual novel. It's not that big of a deal, but it gets a little annoying. I'm assuming that the PS4 and PC version don't do that, but I'm not really sure about that.
Fair enough.
But it's a great game, and I happily picked it up at midnight, and then I played the shit out of it.
Nice.
With Joy-Cons, because my arm hurt.
Alright, so 2019's number 1 game for me, Bobby. Fire Emblem 3 Houses.
What a twist.
This shouldn't come as a shock. We've already mentioned about how we dumped over 300 hours into this game. It's a really good Fire Emblem game.
Spoiler alert, it is also my number 1.
What a shock.
I know, I'm very surprised.
We've played through all the routes. We keep on doing like little shipping grids and all that stuff. I personally really like Petra. I think she's awesome.
Annette, best girl.
You also like Hubert, though, so who can trust you?
Hubert's not best boy, though.
No.
But I like Hubert because he's such a drama queen.
Yeah, that's
And that's really fun.
And I like Edelgard.
Well, that's wrong.
I like Edelgard even after playing her route.
Well, you like her because you played her route. She's a little more redeemable in her route than she is in, like, Blue Lions.
Yeah, that's certainly true. But also, I just like her.
I also played her route recently.
Ray is the bad guy, and I love it when she gets mad. That voice acting. Holy crap.
Shirami Lee really kills it, man.
Yeah. The voice acting of this game is really what sells it.
And it's good.
It's awesome.
I feel bad for Roddick who plays it in Japanese because he's a fucking idiot.
That poor bastard.
I know. He's like, it was made in Japanese. It should be Japanese.
Do
Play
they
it
not
in English. It's really good.
Do they not have English in Poland?
No, they do. Do they not have English in Poland? They didn't invent it there. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No, he's just weird about that kind of thing. He only watches like subbed anime and things like that. And I'm like, you're weird. But yeah, this is an incredible game. Coming off of my love for Awakening and to a lesser extent Fates, but not Echoes, is I was not sure what to think of Three Houses because I was like, oh, they don't have the child units anymore. But then again, every unit is so much more customizable than usual that it basically replaced the child units for me. I could make everybody anything.
Which was really fun.
You know, depending on gender-exclusive things.
Which are very few.
Yeah, it's very few and far between. Not a big deal. And yeah, it's basically exactly what I wanted it to be. I love the school setting. I love the plot, how it changes depending on which house you pick. And even with if you pick Black Eagles, that can change in 2 different directions. It's really, really a good game, and I love it very, very much.
I absolutely agree. It was a lot of fun, even doing the grinding thing, so that way Byleth could have whatever skill set they want, and you could just automatically max it out in New Game Plus modes.
Yes.
Because we did that. Our Byleth has every single thing that you could max out on her max outable.
It's true.
Except for a few of the relationships that we're still working through.
Yeah, he got to S plus rank on every weapon and every class. He's nuts, but I appreciate the shit out of it.
It was great.
Because with the DLC packs and stuff, we have so much extra renown that you can just buy everything.
Yeah, you can go into the game going, I'm going to be this, and thank you, I'm there.
Yeah.
And that's it.
It's, yeah. It's a great time. We've been having just an incredible time with it. And I can just keep going back and revisiting it and doing different things with it. I really like the turning back time mechanic. So I'm finally doing a classic mode run through where I lost Felix on purpose just to see how that affects how the game plays in a Blue Lions route. And I got very sad that I did that, but still, whatever.
Yeah, it's very nice. How the characters change post time skip is amazing.
Yeah. And they just keep coming out with DLC for it.
Which is great.
The biggest one is going to be coming out in, I believe, January or February. So that'll be fun. It's going to have extra playable characters and stuff.
Do we get to play the Gatekeeper?
I hope so.
We better be able
Shout outs to Kyle McCarley.
Yeah, we better be able to play that Gatekeeper.
And also shout outs to Ball Guy and similar things.
Yeah.
I ship Gatekeeper and Ball Guy. So.
Yeah, those two belong together.
Anyway, honorable mentions for 2019. King of Cards, which is the only Shovel Knight expansion to not make my top 3. I still like it better than Plague of Shadows, but I didn't like it enough to make the top 3. I did thoroughly enjoy it. The platforming is good and difficult compared to some of the other stuff. All of Shovel Knight's pretty difficult, but King of Cards I enjoyed. I didn't care for the card game so much. But it seems to be completely optional aside from the very beginning. So whatever, it's just like Gwent, I just ignore it completely. And also Jedi Fallen Order, which was the most into Star Wars I've been. I really liked that game overall. I mean, I was kind of here and there. And it was the game, like, don't play it on Xbox One S. It does not play great. Once we upgraded to the X, it was much better.
We upgraded to the X to make it much better.
Yeah, it wasn't just for Jedi Fallen Order, but it was kind of like a big reason to.
Pretty much just for Jedi Fallen Order.
I haven't regretted getting the X.
Yeah, I paid for half. That was my Christmas present.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. But yeah, it was a good game, and I would like the sequel. And the Witch Girl is the best girl from Star Wars now, so
nice.
That's good.
So that's it. That's our each individual year.
Yes.
So now we get to go to overall. The next subject is talking about for the decade as a whole.
Do you want to do our least favorite, best soundtrack, and most impactful game before we do our top 5s?
Yes, I believe so.
Cool. So what's your least favorite game from 2010s?
Okay, so the way that I did this wasn't just the game that I played. It was like the absolute bottom of the barrel. It was the 1.0 game. It was the game that I expected the most out of. It was most disappointed by.
I did the same thing.
So I was expecting like an 8.0 game and I got a 4.0 game. That's a hell of a difference rather than expecting like a 3.0 game and getting a 1.0 game that just one of my friends made me play because he's an asshole. And because of that...
It's Final Fantasy 15.
It's Final Fantasy 15. Yeah. I expected this game to be good, and it let me down in every single category. Except graphics. It was very pretty. It was a very, very polished turd of a game. I hated it so much.
See, I don't mind the combat so much. As for a Final Fantasy numbered game, it's definitely my favorite. I don't think it's perfect, especially in the stupid dungeons.
Okay, so the combat system was god-awful and dumb, and please don't ever do anything like that again, Square Enix.
They're going to.
I know they're going to. They never listen to me.
Because turn-based is dead.
Is not. I think Fire Emblem Three Houses has proven that differently.
Fair enough.
Make more.
It's still very different. If you
more
make games like that, then I'm into it.
Yeah, make more tactics games, please. But the battle system I thought was awful. The characters I did not like at all. Oh, it's 4 emo dudes riding around in a car with ogre-styled hair. But don't worry, it's fine because it's Japan.
I like them.
I hated them.
I think they're fun. I've come up with a new recipe.
Yeah, that was the only good line that any of them said in that entire game, was that he came up with a new recipe.
And Prompto.
No, they're awful.
I like them all.
Nope. Terrible characters. Every single one. And then, oh, look, he has daddy issues. What a shock. I don't care. You probably have daddy issues because you're such a piece of shit character. I fucking hate you.
I see.
I hate them all so much.
Oh, okay.
What about you? What's your...
My least favorite game from the 2010s is Paper Mario Sticker Star.
Ooh.
It was the reason that I got the OG 3DS, and then I got it, and I got very mad. Because Paper Mario 1 and 2 are some of my favorite RPGs of all time. I don't generally like traditional turn-based RPGs like that. Those games were an exception. Super Paper Mario comes around, and it's a platformer, and I'm like, okay, this is fine. It's not the best thing ever. It's got a great story, which makes up for it. Then comes Paper Mario Sticker Star, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, oh man, it's back to being an RPG, and it's going to be on this new fancy handheld system. So I picked up the OG 3DS when Sticker Star came out, and I hated everything. The game is bland. The story is boring. The combat system is terrible. There's no, special partners that you have. You just have these stupid cards that don't matter. Stickers, excuse me. And it's not good. It was a very, very bad game. Once I saw that it was a linear level structure too.
Yeah, screw that. I'm
did
sorry.
Not like it. And so I'm all playing it upstairs at our job where nobody else is around yet upstairs. And I'm playing it in the dark, and I'm just sitting there seething with my OG 3DS that gets overheated because that's what the OG 3DSs did. And I'm I hate everything about this. Why am I still playing this? And I eventually sold that 3DS because this was the game that I wanted to play on it. And nothing else that was out I was interested in, and I didn't like the OG 3DS at all. So I just hated this game so much. Color Splash, I played a little bit of on the Wii U. It was slightly better. It was very pretty. It had some of the best writing in the series. But it was still Sticker Star 2. It was just slightly better. I don't hate Color Splash nearly as much as Sticker Star. Fuck Sticker Star.
Fair enough.
God damn it.
So, yeah, I think we are both very reasonable in our points for hating those games. So what's the next?
Best soundtrack.
Best soundtrack came out of left field for me right here at the end.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because a lot of games had an amazing soundtrack. Like, the Mass Effect series had an amazing soundtrack that fit the environments very well. But one really stood out. A lot of people agree that it stood out, and it was the shining point of that game. And that's the soundtrack for Pokemon Sword and Shield.
Okay, that's pretty good. It's a really good soundtrack.
Yeah, I usually don't notice the soundtrack too much. It's not a thing that I've trained myself to listen to. This one stood out though, especially running around the wild area and you have the little bagpipes going on.
Fuck the bagpipes, dude. That's the one part I don't like about this soundtrack. It was fine the first couple times. Then it got really too much.
I thought it was fine, but I noticed while I was exploring certain areas and going into the gym battles and all that stuff, I really liked the soundtrack. I looked forward to it almost for the soundtrack, which was really weird for me. I just thought it was awesome. And that it snuck in there right at the end. I felt kind of like, no, it's just because I'm playing it recently. I need to go in and listen to other game soundtracks and other games I really liked. And I did, and a whole bunch of other games came really close. But I still like the Pokemon Sword and Shield one the best for the decade. It stuck with me, and I love it.
I think the Zacian and Zamazenta song is amazing. The slap bass, man.
Yeah.
Just blah, 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 blah. I'm like, holy shit, you guys. And the gym leader battle themes are really good, especially during the Dynamax part.
Yeah.
I generally really like the soundtrack for Sword and Shield, but that's not my choice. My choice for best soundtrack of the decade is Undertale.
I can see a lot of people agreeing with you.
It's a really good soundtrack, you guys. And the fact that it was done by Toby Fox, who did everything else, like with assistance from Temmie and like character designs by like a couple other people, is incredible. People will be like, haha, Megalovania, lol. And that's a great song, but so is like Hopes and Dreams, which is an amazing song. The song called Undertale is my personal favorite. I've listened to it on repeat for hours before. There's so much good shit on this soundtrack. It was the thing that originally got me to play and watch playthroughs of the game in the first place.
Fair
was
enough.
Listening to the soundtrack. And I'm like, wow, this is so fucking good for this little indie game. What the fuck?
See, for a lot of those, the reason why Undertale didn't make my list was because I ended up liking the covers more. Like the lyrical covers,
Okay.
like Adrosaurus does and all
Yeah.
that stuff. So I'm like, I can't count that, but it's certainly impactful.
Yeah. It's a...
Yeah,
good
so
soundtrack.
that one's your best soundtrack. I can agree with you, but it's just not my favorite. I like the covers
Sure.
better.
All right, what's your...
Adrosaurus' little spider dance cover with the lyrics that you slow down a bit is my particular
See, I don't
favorite.
think we need lyrics for that song in particular.
I like it so much. It sounds so cute.
I know Caleb Hines did one for Megalovania, and I'm like, it doesn't need it. It really doesn't. I mean, a lot of the time, I think that lyrics in game music is unnecessary. Especially when you never see it coming.
That song got so old. I hate it.
Yeah, Persona 5, best soundtrack of the decade.
Fuck you.
I'm
No.
kidding.
Okay, so now we go into
Most impactful game.
most impactful. We've had discussions about this, like on the car ride. So it kept swapping back and forth. We both kind of like, well, maybe this one. But maybe this one. Was this game this decade? And we kept looking it up. So this one's been kicking around in the back of our head for a couple of months now, at least. Trying to come up with a game for this.
Yeah,
And the game I finally landed on was Minecraft.
me too.
Because holy crap, that game persists to this day. Was it more sold games than Tetris?
I think so. Or no, Tetris is so far and away number one, I think, that Minecraft is number two, maybe.
Yeah, but it's, Tetris number one by a mile, and then Minecraft number two by another mile.
Yeah.
And then you get the number threes on. It's
Minecraft isn't a game that I personally like very much.
same. I've played it for maybe 30 minutes, and I was just like, oh, hey, that's kind of cool, but I like actual Legos better.
Yeah.
Because I'm that kind of asshole.
I just wish that there was some direction, which is why I'm interested in the Dragon Quest Builders instead.
Yeah.
But I cannot deny the fucking overwhelming impact that Minecraft has had.
Absolutely.
For a game made by one guy, just like Undertale, to have blown up to such a huge amount is crazy. And the fact that Microsoft just bought it out and is just like, you know what? I could make this an exclusive. I'm not going to. Here, have cross-play with us. Hey, Nintendo, you want to play online with people on Xbox? No problem. Sony, you want to do that? Oh, no. Okay, fine. And then eventually they got harassed into doing it. But
Yeah.
It's incredible. And the AR stuff that they've been doing with it lately, too, is really cool.
Yeah, that's really cool.
But yeah, kids these days mostly like games like Minecraft, which is cool too. Good for them. But
Yeah.
the stuff that people have created is insane.
Yeah. Working computers
That
in
shit's
Minecraft.
crazy.
Full
Full-scale replicas of Hogwarts and things like that. I'm like,
Yeah.
how the fuck do you have time for this?
Yeah, King's Landing was one that I saw that was especially impressive. Holy crap.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of YouTubers have made careers out of just doing stuff in this game.
Yeah.
It is insane what you can do in it.
We considered a couple other things. We talked about Undertale for a bit because it's another indie game that blew the fuck up, and I could make the case for Undertale being the most impactful game of the decade.
Yeah.
We also briefly talked about Fortnite. I don't like Fortnite. I don't like the people who play Fortnite.
We even tried to like narrow it down to like, okay, what's the game that started the whole, arena kind of thing like that, like PUBG.
It was PUBG, but Fortnite took it over and basically stuck with it.
Yeah, and this was right after we were talking about right after that one dude won like $1 million for being the number one player or something like that in Fortnite. We also talked about Overwatch briefly.
Yeah, I think that all of those have decent chances of being the most impactful game of the decade, but I think that part of it is that Minecraft came out right at the beginning and has been relevant the entire time.
Absolutely.
Really kind of sells it for me here. So
I can 100% agree.
Yeah, even though I don't personally like it very much, I cannot deny the impact that game has had.
And South Park even did an episode on it, so
Woo.
Hey, I like South Park. You shut that mouth.
All right. You want to do our top 5 overall for the decade now?
Sure. We're going to go number 5 going up to number 1?
Yes.
Okay. So this was especially tough for me because there were a lot of great games that came out this decade. And trying to judge them against each other, especially when it's such different genres of games that ended up making like our top list, it's difficult, to say the least. So if you disagree with my list, that's fine. If you think I should have put it like in a different order, okay. Understand that all of these are incredibly close. You're talking about like, hey, this game is 9.98, and the one right behind is a 9.97. You ended up having to split some very fine hairs for this.
It's also not just all our number ones from different years.
Right.
So we'll have some interesting explanations for that too.
Yeah. So top 5 of the decade. My number 5 is Fire Emblem Three Houses.
Shocking, only at number 5.
I initially had it higher, but then I kept on thinking about it, and I kept on playing with the list, and I ended up switching it around, and now it's just number 5.
Interesting.
And this is one of the ones I'm talking about, like, splitting hairs on. Because number 5, 4, and 3 are all pretty much the exact same grade for me. It's just different genres.
Okay.
And it ended up coming down to which game did I invest the most in.
Okay.
And we invested a lot of time in the Three Houses, but there's another game. So, it's the number 5 spot for me.
Okay.
And considering that it came out, last
2019.
year, yeah, right there at the end, and a lot of people weren't expecting much from it, because Fire Emblem has been really up and down, and its community is getting kind of weird. I think it did amazing. I really loved the game.
Yeah. My number 5 is Pokemon Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire.
Nice.
I had to have Pokemon on here, but I figured it was going to be at number 5. And since ORAS is my favorite of them, it was an easy pick for me. I really like the game. I would honestly love to just have a Switch port of it. That would be amazing.
Yes.
But yeah, we already basically talked about it, so there's that.
Yeah. So my number 4 spot is Overwatch.
Okay.
And this is what I meant about like investing into it, because we were watching the Overwatch League religiously for a long time.
That's true.
We
would talk about it in the car, like, oh, who's playing today?
Right. We have team merch. We kept on looking at the schedule, things like that. We're still very interested in
talking
next
about
year.
trades.
Yeah, we got very nerdy about it.
Yeah,
and it was weird because we were talking about it at work, and there were sports guys at work who felt like a lot of the words we were using were familiar enough that they should know what we're talking about. Mm-hmm. But then we mentioned esports, and they were like, I don't fucking know what that is. And like, we know, boomer.
Yeah. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, but Overwatch, it didn't make my game of the year for that year.
Did it not? Yes, it did.
Yes, it did. My bad. I was thinking of something else. So, it did make my game of the year. But even still, for number... Damn, gotta go.
Yeah, I know.
For number 4 of the decade, that's insane for a first-person shooter that you have to play online, which is like listing all the things that I don't want in a game.
Right. Shockingly, I didn't put Overwatch in my top 5. I love it, and it's definitely something that would probably be in my top 10.
Son of a bitch.
It would be in my top 10, I think. But it's hard. I'm a single player kind of person. Because Smash Bros. Isn't my top 5 either.
Weird.
I know, right? My number 4, I had to change. Because I originally just put Shovel Knight Treasure Trove here. But I'm like, I can't do the compilation of all of them. I cannot do that. So I narrowed it down to Spectre of Torment.
Fair enough.
As much as I would love to just have all of Shovel Knight here.
Yeah, if you put Shovel Knight Treasure Trove, the whole game compilation thing there, I wouldn't say anything here, but you'd be hearing about it after they're recording. And be like, hey, cheap move, bro.
I specifically changed it. Spectre of Torment is my favorite Shovel Knight campaign. It's amazing. I love everything about it. I would love to have the other stuff there too, but if I had to pick one, it would be that one.
Fair enough. So my number 3, and this one was really difficult to choose because if we could have multiple games from the same series, more would be on here. But I had to pick one, and my justification for picking one was it got to be called Seehaw More's Mass Effect number 2.
Fair enough. Even though I think Thane's best scenes are in the 3rd game.
See, I can agree with that, with him being sick and all that stuff, but you can't really romance him there.
True.
And you get the whole resolution with the sun and all that stuff in 3, which was amazing. And him defending the hospital and all that was great. But being able to romance him in 2, along with him being able to call you Seehaw More, and you get like the introduction to him and all that stuff, really bonded me to that character. And because 2 and 3 are both so great otherwise, that you're really just nitpicking some differences, like maybe you like the battle system a little bit better and all that stuff, it really comes down to the character interactions and what you prefer there. I like Thane the best, and I got more of what I wanted from him in Mass Effect 2.
I see.
So I had to split that hair, and I ended up deciding with Mass Effect 2 for my number 3 spot.
Sadly, if you hack Mass Effect 2 and put Thane in your party earlier than you're supposed to be able to get him, he's just very quiet. He doesn't have extra lines for all the early missions like, say, Tali does, which is kind of sad. And somehow Legion does, which is weird.
That's weird.
But I've done that. I've hacked it and had all the characters way earlier just to see if they have extra stuff, which some of them do. But Thane is very quiet.
I love Thane, though. I think he's awesome.
My number 3, similarly to my number 4, I had to change it because I knew I was going to get shit for it. I originally just put the Notary games here.
Yes, you also would have heard about that one after.
I changed it to just Zero Escape 999. Specifically, I would like to say the Notary games version of Zero Escape 999.
Okay, fair enough.
Because it's got like the high resolution sprites and the voice acting and stuff. And it's the definitive version of the game for sure, rather than playing the DS or the iPhone version. And it's just an incredible visual novel. I somehow only have one visual novel in my overall top 5, and it's definitely 999, even though I know Virtue's Last Reward is the favorite among the fans. I love Virtue's Last Reward, but 999 is just right for me because it's not too long, and I think I like the overall cast better.
Fair enough.
But it's it's an incredible game, and that was close too. I could have easily put Virtue's Last Reward here.
Fair enough. Alright, so my number 2, and this is a game that I talked up a lot, and I managed to beat out Breath of the Wild for that game of that year, is Horizon Zero Dawn, which is continually surprising me how high I'm ranking this game and how fondly I remember it, and how much I like digging into the lore about this, and how much I'm looking forward to other stuff in that series, which should be happening. I love the character designs. I love the plot. I love just about every single thing about this game. It's really, really fun to play. And I remember even Kyle Hill of the Because Science channel and Nerdist and all that stuff kept on going on about this game a lot. Till somebody mentioned Witcher 3, and he's like, I also love Witcher 3! And then he didn't shut up on Witcher 3 for a while.
Yes.
So, yeah, it's great. I really like this game. It's a lot of fun.
Interesting. I'm kind of surprised.
Yeah, it came down really between this one and Metal Gear Solid for that type of gameplay, where you get to do what you want and explore around. and very rich environments and all that stuff. And
I would definitely pick Horizon of those two.
I definitely picked Horizon as well, but it was really close. Because I think Metal Gear has a lot more invested stuff into it, but it's a lot more convoluted. And Horizon just spoke to me a bit better as a scienceman.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of science in Horizon Zero Dawn that's explained very well, and you can dig into it, and it's awesome.
My number 2 is Mass Effect 3. I think that if you had asked me a year ago, I probably would have put 2. But playing it on the channel, I really found out how much I loved 3 more.
Fair enough.
I really like it. It's just such a great game. Going back to them, I think I look forward to 3 more than anything.
Being able to reseduce Caden and having that that storyline in there where you guys split up then came back together, that was really good character
development. It's such an overall good romance with Caden. And honestly, all of the romances except for Jacob are pretty good in the series. So
except for Jacob.
Except for Jacob. Fuck Jacob. I don't even like Miranda, but yeah, her romance is pretty good.
Yeah.
But yeah, Mass Effect 3, the trilogy and Andromeda, just such an incredible quartet of games. Fucking so good, you guys. If you haven't, if you're listening to the haterade about the Mass Effect 3 ending was terrible, go fuck yourself. People didn't bitch about The Witcher and it has the same fucking ending.
Yeah, that's fair. Number 1, Mass Effect 3, got patched, so that way you have a couple of different ending options there.
Yeah, there's the extended cut, which was free and amazing.
Yeah, even if we don't particularly care for some of the extra endings that they added on, it's still like, whatever. It's there.
Rejection is a stupid ending.
It appeased the fans. You can get what you want.
Those fans are stupid.
So now there's not any room for bitching.
Yeah.
They
just want a Sunshine and Daisies ending, which they didn't get.
Yeah, and it's still a better ending than Halo, so Halo can go fuck itself. But my number 1 game shouldn't come as a surprise because I told you pretty much what I was doing that year. It's Octopath Traveler. Holy crap, do I go nuts over this game. I love it so much, and the fact that it didn't get as much recognition as I feel it deserves makes me love it even more and want to keep screaming about how great of a game it is and that people should go play it. It is fantastic. I love it so much.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah, as soon as I saw that game, I'm like, oh yeah, Bobby's going to like that game.
Yeah, I went nuts over it, and I haven't stopped since. It's definitely my game of the decade. It could not be the game of the decade for me. I mean, let's be real here.
So I waffled back and forth a lot on my number 1.
I know how you are about waffles too. So
yeah, specifically.
Did you American waffle or Belgian waffle?
Always American.
Yeah.
I knew it was going to be a Fire Emblem. And I was going back and forth. Yeah. Is this going to be Awakening or Three Houses? It's been really hard to pick, you guys. I love both of those games so much. And I played a fuck ton of both of them a lot. I played a lot of Three Houses, and then I went back and I played Awakening again. And I think that's what sealed it for me. My number 1 game of the decade is Fire Emblem Three Houses. I loved Awakening a lot. It's an incredible game. It got me into the series. I've put a hell of a lot of time into it. Conversely, Three Houses has better gameplay. Three Houses has a better story. Three Houses has voice acting. The characters have feet. And
what an odd thing.
It's odd, but look, man, it's so weird to look at the Awakening models and they don't have feet. At the end of the day, I have to go with Three Houses.
Fair enough.
As much as I miss the child mechanic, and I don't like that not every character can romance every other character, or every other character of the opposite sex anyway.
But you do get some same-sex ones.
You do get some same-sex.
Fantastic.
The female ones are great, the male ones are lacking. Linhardt is great, but it's not enough.
Yeah, Petra running off of Dorothea is awesome.
That's pretty good too.
I ship them together so hard.
But yeah, Three Houses, it just gets pretty much everything right for me. And the fact that it just came out at the tail end of the decade and kind of just rolled up and stole it from Awakening
it's so rude.
Is shocking since I came into the year not expecting much from it.
Yeah.
Because I was expecting, they're going to do an Echoes again, and I'm not going to like it so much. But man, did they get it right. And I'm so glad they did. Because, if you'd asked me a year ago, my answer would be Awakening. But Three Houses kind of stole it for me.
Yeah.
And it's truly an incredible game, and I'm still not done with it. I'm going to go back to it and play more. I just got other stuff that I should be playing.
Fair enough.
But, that's a 2-hour video about us talking about this decade.
There are a lot of games that neither of us have played that didn't make the list.
Oh,
I'm
sure.
sure some people are shocked on. Like Red Dead Redemption 2 seems to be making a lot of people's lists.
See, you know what's interesting is
Dark Souls or Sekiro.
Yeah.
Those are making a lot of people's list, and we haven't played them. We have no interest in playing them.
I've seen a lot of people rank Red Dead Redemption 2 lower than Red Dead Redemption 1.
I've seen that a lot too.
And I played for a while of the first game, and I didn't love it. So I don't know how interested I am into... again, I'm not really into that setting, and I don't really think that Rockstar is all that great. Like, LA Noire was cool, but I don't like the gameplay very much. And GTA, I don't really like the gameplay very much.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
It's just not our type of thing. So if you're thinking, hey, why wasn't this on the list? If you comment down below, why not this? The answer is probably going to be, we didn't play it.
Or we have very stupid opinions, and even if we did play it, we didn't list it because it's not my favorite thing. It's just like Nier Automata is probably on a lot of people's list, and I played quite a bit of that game, but I don't think it's that great.
Yeah, fair enough.
Or, a bunch of other games too. I basically, when making these lists on every year, I've got a list of every game that I played from that year. And I look at these, and I'm just like, some of these are the games that people are putting at the top of their list. Like Celeste is oftentimes somebody's best 2018 game, and it's a great game.
Which is an interesting one for me. I'm surprised that one's making so many lists.
Yeah, the Game Explained thing where they were doing their 2018 Spider-Man got done so dirty. It came in second to last. And I'm like, how dare you? How is Celeste only one vote away from taking away from Smash Bros, but Spider-Man is like second to last on this list? It's ridiculous.
Other games that didn't quite make it that I feel like I should have put on there, but for some reason I didn't do an honorable mention of. One of them is Asagao Academy.
Oh, yeah.
That we played for the channel. That one came out in 2016, it looks like. That one just didn't make the list for some reason. I don't know how I skipped over it. It wouldn't have been in my top 3 either way. But I feel like it should have still gotten an honorable mention. There are a few odd games like that we were just looking through the list of all the games and trying to get our things down and make everything. We might have just missed them.
Yeah, that's true too. Maybe we'll come back later and be like, what the fuck? And none of the WoW expansions made our lists. Though I played a lot of those. I mean, I played all of them, but I played a lot of all of them. Like Warlords of Draenor. I think Cataclysm came out in 2010.
Yes, it did.
I mean, I love most of those, not Mists of Pandaria, but the other ones.
It's just really hard to justify putting them on top of other games.
Yeah, it's difficult, especially with just a top 3.
Especially since Final Fantasy XIV made mine. But I think the initial release deserved a little bit more consideration than an expansion.
Yeah.
So that's why there was some of that controversy going on there. But yeah, totally Wild Boys for life.
Yeah. But alright guys, tell us what your favorites are from each year if you want in the comments, or tell us that we're wrong about everything. Tell us that we're fucking idiots for putting Witcher 3 only at our number 3 spot. And not even making the overall top 5.
It's Witcher 3. It deserves to be in the number 3 spot.
Sure.
Clearly. Come on now.
Witcher 2 came out in 2010 as well.
Well, no one cares about that game.
It's where I heard about The Witcher a lot in the first place, was from Witcher 2.
Oh, I didn't hear about it at all?
Yeah, Josh fucking loved that game.
Yeah, good for him.
But yeah, alright guys, we will see you in the new year.
Thanks so much, guys.
Later.
Bye. Kitty, 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 kitty.